You will love his wit and smile when he shares his charm with you. He's got a star that can't be denied on Lee Pitts Live. Come on and listen. You will enjoy and learn if you're wise. There's talking and singing. Everything is there to keep you swinging. We're glad you turned in to Lee Pitts Live.
Welcome back, Southwest Florida, to another edition of Lee Pitts Live on this Sunday morning. We're glad you put us on your list of things to do. It's February the 19th, and we have here in the studio a guest that really needs very little introduction, but we'll call his name anyway. It's Fredrick D. Morgan II. The incomparable Fred Morgan is our guest for the entire show. Before we get to Fred Morgan, I want to remind everybody that Don Cornelius, of course, he's passed, and he was a role model to me as a kid, the Afro. It was Don Cornelius and Link from the Mod Squad. Of course, Don Cornelius of Soul Train fame came on, and I was sitting right there as a little 11-year-old kid with my sister and my brothers and my sister, and we were sitting there, and there was a black man on television hosting his own show, dressed like he wanted to dressed like us, playing the kind of music we like to hear. He was a role model, and I salute Don Cornelius. So, in parting, it's all going to be a stone blast, honey. So in parting, we wish you love, peace, and soul. We'll be right back. Fred D. Morgan II, not the third, not the first, but the second. And you got to get that right, because this guy's name is going to be up in lights. It's already up in lights. He's a historic figure in our community. So I'm delighted to have Fred here on the Lee Pitts Live autobiography series. Welcome to the show, Fred.
I'm so glad to be here.
Hey, man, it's an honor to have you here. And as I always said when you come on the show in the past, rule number one, never outdress the host of the show. And then you come breaking up here in your Steve Harvey three-piece. You're killing me, Fred.
Lee, my wife, this is my Christmas present, and my wife said she wanted me to look awesome on your show.
Well, okay, so are you going to blame those nice Stacey Adams
shoes
on the
yeah,
wife?
I ran that alligator down.
Rodney, if you could get a shot of those shoes, man, you got to in the course of this interview, man. Fred, you're always a dapper dresser. One of the hallmarks of Fred Morgan, I would say, is when you cut through everything else, cum laude, all the thousands of awards that you received over the years, the hallmark is you are always looking out for the best interest of our youth. How did that come about and why?
Well, currently I'm the director of the Project Hope Scholarship, and that stands for Help One Person Excel at Edison State College. I've been at Edison for 28 years, and that's helping at-risk first-generation students get in school, stay in school, and graduate. And I look at my job as more of a ministry. It's a mission that I have in helping our community and helping all young people aspire to the dreams that they have for their lives. I, of course, got that from Melvin and Fred Morgan, my parents, and they have helped, thousands and thousands of young people from Dunbar High School throughout the Lee County school system go to school and stay in school. And that inspiration, I mean, my entire family has been in the education arena, from James Stevens to my sisters now here in Fort Myers working at one of the middle schools, and I realize education is the key to prosperity.
Now, your parents are well documented as community leaders. Your mom was the first black commissioner for Lee County, and your father, of course, was worked in athletics, a coach, and those types of things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was like a real popular swim teacher in the community.
Yeah,
you always tell me, Mr. Morgan, I know you set the table. You are the key guy who taught a lot of black kids to swim in Dunbar community. I came along maybe 35 years later, but I want to pay homage to your father. Talk about some of your father's work and how that influenced you.
Well, Lee, the way I learned how to swim was I didn't want to learn how to swim. My dad took me down to the 9-foot at the Dunbar pool and threw me in. And he said, either you're going to drink this pool or you're going to learn how to swim. I, of course, learned how to swim. And he taught a lot of kids coming out of Southwood Village in the Dunbar community right there at the pool how to swim.
Fred, you grew up with a mother and a father in the household. You work a lot with kids who don't particularly have a father in the household.
Exactly.
How are you able to relate to them the way you relate to them when you grew up in a solid traditional family.
I realized, and my sister as well, we realized at a very young age that we had to share our parents, that there were so many young people that did not have a father, and some did not have a mother, at least as a positive role model in their lives. And my mom and dad quickly became those surrogate parents, whether it was at church, whether it was in the community, whether it was at the Pee Wee Packers football team. We learned that we had to share our parents, and that's something I think that was instilled in me, that I'm now a father figure for many of the young people that I deal with on a daily basis, and helping them to know that there are good men, because many of them have been abused, or at least dad walked out the door, and they have a sour taste in their mouth for men. But when you show them that there are loving, caring men, especially that want to see them succeed, it helps them to, I think, get on the right path, to realize that they can do what they want to do, and also the type of guys that they date changes, because now they want someone that really treats them like a lady. And I really instill that in the young men that I work with on a daily basis.
Excellent. Now, you end up becoming one of the top tennis players in the state, a black guy in Dunbar, becoming one of the top tennis players in the state. How does that happen?
Well, it happens when you're too short to play basketball, and I was not big enough to play football, outside of Pee Wee football, and so my dad stuck a tennis racket in my hand. And I realized at first I hated it. I did not want to play tennis. And you know, of course, in those days, Arthur Ashe was our only role model, and there weren't a lot of black folks playing tennis. But I learned to love it and got pretty good at it, and got a full scholarship to go to South Carolina State University and played some of the big name players, you know, in the country at that time. And then I decided to come back, and I've been doing some lessons on the side and trying to teach and hopefully get some other black young men or women interested in playing the sport.
Great sport. And of course, you know I played tennis as well. Now, at this point, we're supposed to be running some photos of Fred playing tennis, and I want to rip you right now.
Yes, go ahead.
Why don't I have Mr. Morgan? You know you got all those pictures of Fred, but we're looking at a handsome picture of Fred right now. There's a picture of you with a young lady on the screen. But and I wish we in the future when we come back, we're gonna make sure we can show some of those photos. Talk about when you were here before you went to South Carolina to go to college, when you were here moving about in school. What were some of your bigger challenges, and what elementary school and middle school did you attend?
I attended Franklin Park Elementary School, and of course I went up to the 4th grade. It was segregated, so it was all blacks. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about being in that segregated system was that we started every day with prayer. And our teachers were our role models, and our teachers were in the community, and so they knew my parents. So if I got out of line, of course, that message got home real quickly. They cared about us, and they motivated us, and they always said, you can be whatever it is you want to be. So I got that message not only at home, I got it at school and at church.
Along the way, there's no way that a guy like you can become a dynamic leader, growing up in the African-American community, and somewhere along the way, some kids or some people said, by you trying to better yourself in terms of your academics, saying you trying to be white, by speaking correctly, reading, doing your homework and all of that. How did you overcome that when some people who are, you know, miseducated might say you're trying to be a white boy?
Yes, I did get that.
And
label.
also playing tennis.
And playing tennis. And
what do you say to those kids out there
What I
now?
said to them was that speaking correctly is not speaking white. Speaking correct English is speaking correct, and that's the King's English, and that's what we've got to be able to do. Ebonics does not count. And one of the things I realized as a young man, you can speak slang, but don't speak it around mom and daddy. Speak it with your friends, but then you've got to shift, and then you've got to speak that correct English when you're around adults and when you're around parents. And those are the kinds of things that are going to help you when you go out there into that job market, to be able to speak correctly and to do a great job on that job and be representative of yourself as well as your parents.
How do we now continue that message with this generation? There's more slang, there's more hip hop, there's more, you know, different words that you have to use. Of course, I can't even repeat a lot of those words now because I don't know them. You know why I don't know them? Because they don't benefit me in life right now. How do you get that message across, Fred?
I get it across by asking young people, what do you want out of life, and how are you going to get there? And the slang is not going to get you to where you want to get to in life. And once they start thinking about, I want a home, and I want to have a nice car, and I want to wear nice clothes, and I want to have a nice job, I say, well, there's an attitude that comes with that. There's a way that you carry yourself. T.D. Jakes calls it positioning yourself to be what you want and to get what you want out of life. And if you don't get on that right path, then you're going to end up wandering for a while out there in the wilderness. But if you do get on that right path, you'll reach your dreams, because I believe that decisions determine destiny. Make bad decisions for your life, and you're probably not going to end up where you want to get to in life.
The words of Mr. Morgan. If I can help somebody, finish that up.
As I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he or she is traveling wrong, then my living will not have been in vain.
How did that become one of your mottos?
Because I realized that I've been given a gift, I think, and I've given that gift from my parents, that I can be that person to help that young person that may not have all the information, but they have that dream and that desire, and you can see it in a person's eye. And when I see that dream and that desire that I want to be somebody, but yet I may not have all the resources, and that if I believe, because I believe God sends angels along your pathway, and those angels are there to do a job and to help that person get to where they want to get to.
You went on to South Carolina State University, became on a tennis scholarship. You could have stayed here locally. You left, but you did return back to Fort Myers at some point in your life. What was it like for you to leave Fort Myers, graduated cum laude, by the way, and then what brought you back?
Well, I can remember, Lee, when my parents, after we had gotten all signed in and got my classes and everything at South Carolina State, and my mom gives me the big hug and my dad gives me the big hug, and they got in the car and drove away. And that was one of the first times that my parents were leaving me for good, and I knew it was for good. I stood down that curb in front of Bethea Hall and like, oh my God, I am all alone. But then, of course, I reached inside of me and knew that they had trained me and prepared me to be there and to be able to do what I did at South Carolina State. But it was the little old ladies in church, because see, I had not planned to come back to Fort Myers after graduating from South Carolina State. I was going to go off to the Atlantas or the Columbias or the bigger cities, like all of my friends. And then I came back home, and those little old ladies from the, the Amen corner and those little old men, they said, we have prepared you growing up in Mount Olive AME Church. Your future, your community, they need you. Give us a couple of years.
Wow.
And Lee, it's been 28 years that I've been at Edison, so I feel like I'm kind of stuck now.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Before we go to a break, I want to get this in before we go, Rick, to the break. When you got on college campus, and I'm just kind of relating to my personal experience at Talladega College, when you got on college campus and you saw a lot of people who weren't necessarily doing what they should have been doing to be college students, to graduate. You saw a whole lot of peer pressure to go this direction, but obviously you went down the right fork in the road and you didn't lose your value system. How did you keep that? Anybody right now going to college and they're gonna face all these obstacles, how did you keep that focus?
My biggest thing was letting my parents down and my family down. If I didn't succeed, I had to make it. Because I knew that there was a destiny out there, that goals and things that I had to do. And so it really stuck with me that if I don't achieve and become what I'm destined to become, I'm letting a whole lot of people down.
Look at some students that we got a chance to talk to at the NAAC Leap County branch of the NAACP's annual banquet. Rick, if you would run that, these kids were Fred Morgan helped put them together. We get a chance to talk to the next generation. We have some students here at the NAACP banquet. Right now we're at the reception part of the banquet. We're on the red carpet on Leap Hits Live, and we got some students here from Edison State College, and we're delighted to get a chance to meet some of the new breed here in the area. What's your name?
My name is Saul Pierre.
Saul Pierre. And what's your name?
Once in Charleston.
Both of you guys are well dressed. This is an opportunity for you to dress up and look good and put your deodorant on. How you enjoying yourself getting the opportunity to be here at the NAACP banquet?
So far, I'm having a good time, meeting a lot of new people, seeing a lot of new faces that I've never seen so far, and I'm grateful for that. I thank God for that.
I know you guys interact a lot with Fred Morgan over there, one of your directors. What's it been like having an opportunity to have Fred as one of your mentors, Mr. Morgan?
Oh, he's a great guy. Introduced me to a lot of new people, get me going around campus. I was a freshman, didn't do much around campus, but now I'm a president of an actual club, so I'm very happy I met him.
Tell me about that club you just mentioned.
I am the president of the African American Student Association, which is ASA. It's about a leadership institute. I was a vice president last semester. This year I'm a president, and it is a FASA, which stands for Florida American Student Association.
Do you have any understanding of what the NAACP has meant to this country?
Yeah, I have just a little bit. Mr. Morgan told me a bit about it, how it is basically to help young kids in the organization, stay active with them, keep them out of trouble and everything. So I'm happy that it's a good program they're having going.
All right, keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
And what organizations are you involved in at Edison State College?
ASA, African American Student Association, same thing as him. I'm the vice president, and so far we're doing so great. And Mr. Morgan is teaching us a lot of leadership role and showing us a lot of events that we could attend, so in our future experience that we could have further in education ourselves. He's
also showing you guys how to dress really sharp.
Yes.
why do you think it's important to have an organization like yours on campus at Edison? And I want you to look into that camera so all the ladies at home can see you.
The reason why is teach you how to be a leader, and it show you the value of life, and it show you like the experience that you're gonna get in everyday life, the business world, and experience new things, meet new people. And it's a way to go in your college life experience, and furthermore you can teach others and experience others and show them well the way the college will play.
What are you majoring in at Edison State College?
Right now I'm majoring in criminal justice to become a detective.
And how about you? What are you majoring in?
I'm getting my associate degree, and I'm transferring to Florida Atlantic University in January. I'm graduating in December. I'm majoring in sport management, which is physical therapy, basically.
Okay, I hear that both of you gentlemen have an accent. Tell me where you're originally from or your parents are from.
I'm originally from Haiti, Port-au-Prince.
Okay, come on, allez-vous?
Ça va bien, merci à toi.
Okay, what about you?
I'm from Au Cap Haitian.
Okay. Comment allez-vous?
Ça va bien.
Ça va bien. Bonjour, monsieur. I'll be happy. You guys will be happy to know that I have traveled throughout Haiti, from Port-au-Prince to Labadie, to Cap Haitian, to Port-au-Pay, to the Citadel Castle. All you Haitians out there. So I'm glad to have some Haitian brothers here on the show. We'll be right back. And those students there are part of the African American Student Association at Edison State College, and Fred Morgan was very instrumental in making that organization the powerhouse that it is now. Fred, what is it like for you to look at those young men handling themselves on TV?
I was very proud of them, because that's one of the things I work with young people. Before they go out and represent me, I tell them you're representing yourself, and you want to make sure that you are quality, that you speak well, you enunciate, you pronounce your words clearly so that people will understand exactly what you're saying, and that you think before you open your mouth, because once those words are out there, you can't take them back.
Tough love, huh?
Of course, you've got to do that.
Fred, you have received so many awards. I mean, I'm just delighted to be in your presence, man. And I can't go through all of these awards, but there are certain awards that I know that you are very excited about. Tell us the President's Award at Edison State College. What was that award, and why you're so excited? Why were you so pleased with it?
Well, annually, our president was Dr. Walker. He would present one of the faculty or staff members with the President's Award, and that was basically for your leadership on campus as well as in the community, making a difference in the lives of our students. And it comes as a surprise. He presents that at graduation. And I was sitting there on the stage with all the faculty and administrators, and he started reading all of this stuff, and I'm sitting there saying, that sounds like it might be me, but then I said, nah, and then he kept reading and kept reading and kept reading. Then all of a sudden he made the announcement, and it was me in 2006. He presented me with that award, and that was a real special treat.
The NAACP Lifeblood Award. Collier County.
I lived in Collier County a number of years ago, and that was a Lifeblood Award, saying that, you know, I was working in the community with the NAACP and making a difference there. I created a poster and an essay contest down there with the NAACP, and I think it's still going today.
And that's interesting. People might associate you heavily with Lee County, but you're a regional guy, right?
Yes, sir. Even with my position prior to being a recruiter at Edison and going out, I would cover the 5-county area: Lee, Collier, Charlotte, Glaze, and Hendry County. So I'm pretty much well known throughout the district.
And that's why I keep saying you need to run for, like, President of the United States, not commissioner locally, President of the United States.
I hear you,
Lee. Seriously. Political locally. Are you going to consider running for some political office locally? Tell me you will consider it.
I'll consider it, but I've got to sit down and talk with my family, especially talk with my wife, because I've been so busy in the community, and you know, those meetings pretty much occur almost every night of the week, and I'm trying to slow down. So I now have a rule: I must ask my wife first before I say yes to anything, because a number of people are after me to join boards and all that stuff.
Well, all right, you got my vote. The NAACP Image Award, Lee County, you recently got that award. It says a lot about you as a role model.
Exactly. I think Brother Muwakil, who's the president of the local branch of the NAACP, as well as the committee that selected me primarily for my community work as well as my work at the college. But I was president of the Dunbar Festival Committee for 2 years, and then 5 years as the vice president. And what I did was I evaluated where that committee stood, because they primarily put together the MLK celebration in January, as well as the annual Dunbar Easter Parade. And at that time, people were saying that if you blinked, you'd miss the parade. And then the MLK celebration wasn't as well organized as it could be. Well, instead of just sitting there and hearing people complain, I prayed about it, And just as we're talking, Lee, God said, Fred Morgan, we have prepared you to step up to the plate and lead both of those activities. Now, the MLK celebration has 10,000 plus, and these are the police estimates as to how many people come down to the park, as well as the Easter parade is the longest it's ever been, as well as the most well-attended that it's ever been.
I tell you, I've seen each of those events, and you've seen me at those events in the past. I saw where they were, and I saw what those events became, and man, I would have to say that is one of your biggest contributions that you've ever made to this community. You made those events some of the shining stars that our community looks forward to every year. Congratulations, and we appreciate all that hard work you put into that.
Thank you. It was a lot of hard work.
And now you're moving on to another area. Tell us about what you're doing these days.
Well, now with all the killings and the shootings that have been happening into our community, I really am focusing my efforts on black boys especially, and still young people. Working with the NAACP as the advisor for the Youth Council, we've come up with a program which we're calling Role Models, because what I'm thinking is many of these kids that are going down the wrong path, maybe they have not had the role models in their life to keep them on the right path. And so on a monthly basis, and we just elected our officers last month, we now have a good board of young people, primarily students, that really, I think, want to make a difference in our community. And we're targeting this to be multicultural, so we want white, black, Hispanic. Our secretary is a white young lady from the college. And the students are really interested and excited, and on a monthly basis, we'll be conducting different activities that will positively impact our community. For February, we're doing a Black History Trivia contest to build pride, and then for March, we're having a college knowledge and financial aid workshop to help students go to school if they want to go to school. April, we're calling this the Soul Extravaganza. Get your soul right with God. And we're going to have entertainment, singing, dancing. And I mean, we're really trying to do some things to change the climate, because you grew up in a time when it took a village to raise a child. It took a village to raise me. I think now our community is taking on some different names in that village, and we've got to gather that back. We've got to get that respect for one another, that love for one another, and so that's what we're working toward.
With 15 seconds left, quickly tell us about the professional network.
One of the things I'm looking to do is we have a lot of professionals in Southwest Florida, but they don't get to rub elbows and meet one another in a variety of areas. So we're going to try to bring them together so that also they can be mentors and make a difference in our community.
As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Fred Morgan and all the great work that he has done in our community and continue to do here on our Lee Pitts Live Autobiography Series. We'll see you next week when Mimi Chang will be our featured guest.